Yes, people, how are we all doing? Welcome one, welcome all back to the channel. Can you believe it? 2 streams in a week. Can you believe it? 2 streams in a week. Big ups to everyone, We've got some very yes, people, how are we all doing? Welcome one, welcome. We've got some very interesting things to be talking about today. Namely two topics. One, Jeremy Frimpong. The news around Jeremy Frimpong, the rumours around Jeremy Frimpong just will not go away. So how is he going to fit in? How are we going to make it work with Jeremy Frimpong at Liverpool Football Club? That's topic number 1. And number 2, what I didn't think I would have to be talking about. Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool. Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool is a very real possibility. Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City icon, greatest Manchester City player of the Premier League era, that Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool potentially. We've got that to talk about, we've got Frimpong to talk about, I'll be taking your questions. You got me for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Let's get this show on the road, people. But before we dive properly into it, if you're new here and you're not already, make sure you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button, you're turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any more content, people. Big ups. Mohamed Noor, I think it is. Big ups. Kabdullahi Moalim. I apologise if I butchered your name. Big up Ziggy Wiggy. That quarter Callot Coppish was hilarious last night. I have to do it for the people. I have to do it for the good of the football club. We know we can't be having the Calcareous affecting transfers. And when it's Kevin De Bruyne, it's a little bit more ooh. It's a little bit more ooh. Big ups DJ LFC. Big ups Liam Belson. Start a consistent Tom. Who knows? Big ups Mo Mohammed. People are saying Frimpong at right wing like we don't have the best player in the world playing there for the next 2 years. I will touch on this when we get to Frimpong, but that is something I do need to talk about. Big ups LA 20 times. Afternoon Tom. I'm good, mate. I'm good. I am very good. I'm repping the boys that got the job done yesterday. Unbelievable hate watch. Tom, do you think Girona being under the Man City group will put a premium on Arnau Martinez? It's tough to say. I know that they're technically not owned by the City group anymore. They're owned by some subsidiary of them. But even if it was, I don't think it'd put that much of a premium on him because he's not necessarily expensive anyway. He'd be about 25 million. I reckon the premium only makes him 30. And they'd only really put the premium on a player if, City were after him. So I'd like to think there's not this premium worry that people are talking about. Big ups to Mustafa who says, afternoon yourself. Alvarez not coming because of the weather. I know that he was very interested last season. Or last summer, should I say. But we just wouldn't give up Luis Diaz to make the deal happen. I think Frimpong will be a good choice because we need both left back and right back. So if we get someone like Hato at left back, Frimpong can easily fit as a wing back. With Frimpong, defensive numbers just doesn't justify the work rate. I'll touch on Frimpong. I know that ultimately Kerkez is the main target left back regardless. So I don't see that changing. Therefore, Frimpong is a bit of a harder fit. Big ups John Thomas. Big ups Naveen. De Bruyne would never join Liverpool. It's not what I've heard. Thank you for saving the KDB deal. As always, mate. I just gotta make sure that the good of the football club is there. Big ups Gary Richards. Love them on. It's a bit of a mess today. It's very flat. I want it to be more sort of, out there. But big ups yourself, Gary Richards. 2 days, 2 generational hate watchers. You know it. Big ups LFC Aaron. Listen to the man LFC Aaron here, people. If you're not already, make sure to hit that like button. Let's try and get ourselves to... Should we try and get close to 100 likes for today? If I'm going to be live for an hour, we'll try and see how close we can get to 100. So make sure to hit that like button, people. I have it on extremely good authority that the KDB news is completely false and there's absolutely zero chance of Alvarez joining Liverpool. Is this the same good authority you have when you were telling me that Alisson Becker was leaving us to go to Saudi Arabia, just for Alisson Becker to say he doesn't want to leave the football club and wants to see out his contract. That authority. Well done, Ryan. You're lucky I don't have the diss track saved on my OBS. And you have authority on that. I've heard different things about Kevin. I've heard different things about who's pushing the deal as well. What do you think is the bare minimum LFC need to sign this summer? Left back, centre back, right back, DM, one forward is the absolute bare minimum, but it should really be two. KDB would be a stupid signing to me. It's just the same Kevin De Bruyne that we're on about here, people. The same Kevin De Bruyne that's been the best midfielder in the Premier League since 2016. That Kevin De Bruyne, and we're saying now he'd be a bad signing. I don't know about you, but I can't help but feel we're being a bit fucking stupid when we're talking about Kevin De Bruyne. I just have to look at what he's done recently. Is he the same player that he was 4 or 5 years ago? No. But are we going to be playing him in the same role that we need a player to play 4 or 5 years ago? No. At the end of the day, it's Kevin De Bruyne. You don't lose the quality. He's still shown this season in certain games, in certain competitions, that he's got that quality. I'd say recently, since the game against us, whenever he's played, he's been quite good. So I'm not fully against it, especially when you've got Dominic Szoboszlai there. Could we see a collab with you and Nobbins again? I don't see why not. It just depends on times, and we need a good reason to. But I love him. I've got so much time in the world for Nobbins, so I yeah. If we want to set it up again, we'll set it up again. Rodrigo has lost his place in Real Madrid's 11. He is no longer indispensable. Opportunistic, anyone? Opportunistic? You think we change the system to attacking wing backs? I'll show you what I think we'll change the system to when we get to the KDB thing. When we get to the Frimpong thing, sorry, not the KDB thing. He almost left last summer, that's why there was no offer. And he said he came out the moment Mamardashvili was linked and said, I want to stay for the rest of my contract. But he nearly left. Come on, Ryan. Watch KDB as more assist than Dom. It's Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne knows what he is. He knows what he is. It did, but it is what it is. De Bruyne is worth the risk, he's free, but I don't see his paying his wage when it took so long for Salah and VVD. But what I've been told is that he's willing to take a pay cut. He's willing to take a pay cut at City, but they just don't want to. They're just quite happy to cut ties. So he's willing to take a pay cut to stay in Liverpool, in Europe, or in the Premier League more specifically. So I doubt we'd be paying him the wage that he's on at City if he was to join. Murillo would be a great signing. I just don't see it personally. I don't see it. I really don't. I think he's too undersized. I think as a one-on-one defender, he's not great. He can clear stuff if it comes into the box, but that's about it. So I don't see it personally. I really don't. But people, let's start off with Frimpong. Ryan, you do understand how a Bosman transfer works, don't you? You do understand how a Bosman works. City can't stop him joining us if he wants to. If he moves on a free, they can't stop him joining us if he wants to move on a free. They can't just go, oh, you want to offer him a contract because we're not giving him a new one? No. What do you want about? If Kevin De Bruyne wants to join Liverpool, and we want Kevin De Bruyne will join Liverpool. The only thing we can't do right this very second is to seal a deal. We're not allowed to offer him a contract. But he's moving on a free. We don't have to offer a fee for him. City can't say, no, we don't accept your transfer fee. They're letting him go. Come on, Ryan. Come on. You rate Huijsen highly? Relatively so. Relatively so. Relatively so. Rank the striker targets. Sesko, Ekitike, Gyökeres, Openda, Retegi, and Guessend. So bottom of my list is Sesko, then Openda, then Ekitike, then Guessend, then Gyökeres, then Retegi's my number one target. Rather geeky than Murillo. Bit more experience, a bit taller, bit of a better sort of channel defender. I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't have been against this Paulie a couple of years ago, but the problem is now his confidence is shot. So when he was worth 100 million, he had all the confidence in the world. In the last couple of years, he's just struggled for his confidence. So I don't know whether it's a case of that confidence is fully gone, and the pressure at Liverpool is different. We've seen that Nunes couldn't handle the pressure moving from Benfica to Liverpool. So I don't know if right now is the time to take the gamble on Antonio Silva. If he was available for like 30 million, it's a no-brainer because he has that potential, but right now I just don't think so. Hello. Well, I'm surprised you didn't put CapCut at the end of your comment, mate, because you seem to leave that and everything. Sorry, that was uncalled for. But let's start off with the Frimpong stuff. So, today, Ben Jacobs revealed that Jeremy Frimpong, you know what? Why don't I just be a professional YouTuber? You know, try and earn some money rather than just sit here and make you stare at my face for the whole thing on the full screen. Let me go find it real quick. There it is. There, look at that. Now, I don't know if this is all set up properly. Oh, that's not. We're not going on to that one yet. What we want is this one. There we go. Look at that. Professional YouTuber. I've got me all setting things. Look at that. Let me zoom it in so you can read it a little bit better. So, according to Ben Jacobs, Leverkusen Jeremy Frimpong has a €35 million release clause. A summer exit is realistic. Several European suitors, including Liverpool, whose interest is genuine. Now, the instant alarm bell is the man's not a fullback. He's not. He's a wing-back. His defensive numbers are torrid. They are absolutely horrendous. They always have been. You know, if I was, let's see, but I don't even know if I want to take that gamble yet. Yeah, let me go pull up his stats. Just real quick. Jeremy Frimpong. See, if I was smart, we'd get there. But I'm not. Here we go. So, if I go back to scene 4. Here we go. So, as you can see, attacking numbers. Ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Unbelievably high. Very high for non-penalty goals, non-penalty XG, shots, yeah. They're very good at dribbling. Very involved in the attacking phase by touches and progressive passes received. But defensively, it's horrendous. It's horrendous. This is the mould of a wing-back. Now, we don't play with wing-backs. We really don't. So, it becomes a case then of, well, what do we work with here? What do we work with here? So, passing-wise, it's not great, but the idea would be you get a midfielder or a couple of midfielders who can do the passing-wise, the creativity-wise that you're losing out with on Alexander-Arnold. You don't necessarily need your full-back to be this incredible passer of the ball, dictator of tempo, yada, 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 yada. So, that isn't the concern. This is the concern. If you're a full-back, these numbers have to be better. If you look at on this side, the similar players, 1, 2, 3. I don't think they play with back 5, but 4. 4 of the top 5, and I don't even know if Marseille play the back 5. They might well do. But his most similar players are wing backs. We don't play with wing backs. Now, how do you get it to work? How do you get it to work? I think you would get it to work like this. Again, I haven't got the names and stuff, so you just have to imagine certain players or where they are here. But you got Liverpool's traditional 4-2-3-1. Like so. And it works now because when Trent has the ball, or when we're in the attacking phase, Salah's there. You'll typically have Jota over there, Winger out there, Szoboszlai there, McAllister there, Gravenberch sitting there, full back there, centre back, and Trent typically sits there. He typically sits there. Watch James Pearce said. Watch James Pearce said. Liverpool are going to have a look at their options in the market for right back. I know Frimpong has been mentioned as a possibility. Well, it's a good thing we're talking about him, isn't it? What, you want me to switch to 10 and the 7? Fine. Yeah, I'll switch that as well. So Trent would typically occupy this area. And if Salah was a bit more narrow, he'd occupy this area. That's where they'd go. It'd be nice little rotations like this. But because Trent could operate in those areas quite comfortably, you were enabled that. But the crucial thing to note here is Trent wasn't... It wasn't like it was of old where it would be Salah sitting there, him there, striker there, winger there, him there. It wasn't like that. What we have to do is go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. So, if you add Frimpong, your right back is going to be this. He's going to be up and down, or more likely, making a lot of these underlapping runs here. So I wouldn't be shocked if you saw us move to something like this. Our 10, which is why I have a feeling with the Kevin De Bruyne thing, there could be a little bit of weight to it. Because what you'd want in this situation, if he's going to bomb on, I want you to consider the way PSG have played this year. Consider the way PSG have been playing this year. They build up in something like this. Their right back, Hakimi, gets right up there so they can use his attacking quality. And what will end up happening is, I'm trying to remember who's on the right. It is João Neves. Now, João Neves is an incredible duel with it, which Kevin De Bruyne wouldn't be. But what you would see is the midfielder dropping into this area. So you'd build up, nice little pass, centre mid there, winger dropping in, or striker dropping in, midfielder there, sort of like that. Nice passing until it gets out to here, where one of their players will jump up, and then he can either go for an underlapping run from Frimpong, or out wide to Salah, who can cut in, and he's got a player there. He'll have 10, striker, winger, all arriving late, which is what Arne Slot wants to do. He wants our players to operate. Let me see if I've got my tools here. Can I draw the box? I don't know if I can draw the box. I can draw the box. Arne Slot wants our players to create chances in this area. So what he would want is for Salah to pick up the ball, get into that area, and have late run, body, have an underlapping run there, so we can do a reverse ball through, catch them offside, and then it's just runners. But you want to get into this area. Now, De Bruyne can do that. Szoboszlai can do that. Salah can do that. Frimpong, you don't want operating this area. Frimpong is supposed to be getting up and down, operating in that area. Now, one area for that we would need to work on is Jeremy Frimpong would need to get better at crossing. He would need to get better at crossing. What's this? Alex Crook said KDB to Liverpool isn't on the agenda. I told you, Tom. Well, what I know is that it is a not denial of interest, which is what we're not doing. We're just saying it's not a priority. That's all we've said so far. That's all that. What it would be is Liverpool have no interest. All this tells me is Liverpool have interest, but it's not a priority. And it lines up with what I've been told. So you can believe that. I'll believe what I'm being told. We'll agree. We'll agree on that front. I'll listen to what I've been told. But yes. So the point of Frimpong is we get into that area there. That area right there. And it frees up space for Salah because he will be dragging a defender with him. It frees up space for De Bruyne. And what you effectively create is... If I can just... Oh, for fuck's sake. Gotta click the lines, haven't I? Still getting used to this one. What this would effectively create is this square of doom. It would create this square of doom. Again, need to click it off the box thing. Tell you what, if I stream more often, I'll be lethal at using this. But we will effectively have this triangle of doom. And even if Szoboszlai is the guy who plays there, it will still probably end up like this, but you'll just see a lot more fluidity in how this sets up. Almost like this. Because all three are comfortable operating in this area. And while Frimpong's a little bit less comfortable operating in that area, he can still do it to an nth degree. But that's what it's all about, creating that area of uncertainty. Now, what this does do, though, if you're an eagle-eyed person, because you've got to bear in mind, for more often than not, our fullback will be on the left, if it's Kerkers especially, will be higher up on the left. Our rest defence is shite. For lack of a better term, our rest defence will be shite. How do you counteract this? If you're like this, and teams win the ball back there, how do you counteract this? How do you set up like this? The way I could see it happening, and you're going to have to ride with me here, people. I don't want this to happen, by the way. I'm not saying I want this to happen. But you're just going to have to ride with me here, people, as I explain this. Sorry, Is there even more Frimpong news coming out now? We're getting everything else at this point in time. It's Ben Jacobs again. Yeah, did someone put it in the comments? There we go. He's emerged the top target, 30 million release clause. Like his profile, he's capable as more of a wing back and further up the field too. This gets to my point. If you want to accept that he's a wing back and deal with what he is as a wing back, the solution is this: Gravenberch, instead of operating here when we have the ball, goes there. He becomes the third centre back. You know, like he's done this season against like Forest and in certain games where he needs to be like Fulham especially, he'll just drop in and become a centre back that when he gets the ball has a license to get forwards at points. I think this is what you could end up seeing. You'd see McAllister get a little bit more withdrawn. And then you'd see, this is why I think that the striker would be a really interesting one, because if we are sticking with this, I wouldn't be shocked if the striker almost has to be a false nine at points. But you would drop Gravenberch to form a back three, so your rest defence is a bit stronger, and you have almost a 4-1 or a 3-1, and then you have the option there with your winger to sit in, or the option to go wide. Your fullback comes in, goes wide. Cam can go anywhere, but mainly would operate in this channel because this is where you want to get the overloads because of Mohamed Salah. And your striker, you're asking an awful lot of your striker, but he goes pretty much there. Pretty much there. And against teams where you're really dominant, really, like I'm talking at home against who's coming up, like your Burnley, you would effectively see this form. And you would take the gamble on your 2-2 being better than your 3-1. So against good teams, you defend like this. Or you don't defend like this, you don't defend the back five. But you sit like this until Frimpong gets his arse back, until Kerkers gets his arse back. At that point, Grav steps forward and you form your back four. But in that initial phase, once you've lost the ball, whilst they're getting back, you defend like this. And you form your back three. with your sitting midfielder there, which is why I also think it'll be interesting to see if we are pushing for a midfielder. This could be what you're going for. And you got to bear in mind as well, you got Dominic Szoboszlai, who does copious amounts of running as well. So this is the way I could see it happening. This is the way I could see it happening if we were to sign Frimpong. Gravenberch sits a lot more as a centre back in build up against decent opposition. Against weak opposition, where you can trust Konate and Van Dijk to deal with any opposition, you can sit in more of a 2-2, and you can really, if you're looking at this here, you can realise just how badly you can pen teams in with setups like this. You create a 2-2-6. It's really, really dangerous, especially because you're gonna occupy so many players that, like, Frimpong is gonna take a fullback or something. He's going to drop in, he can drag a centre-back, he's going to go there, he's going to go there. You're always effectively, unless they commit to a back six, which is defending with a back four and pulling wingers back, you're always going to sit there and have a man free. So against weak opposition, I wouldn't be shocked if this is the next evolution. Something like this. And against good opposition, I wouldn't be shocked if it's something a little bit more akin to this. With Szoboszlai sitting there. I wouldn't be shocked if Arne Slot's taken a lot of inspiration from that PSG game. I really wouldn't. And Frimpong to me would be the evolution to committing to that style of it, because he's that right back that is incredibly strong attacking wise. And something that I don't think people are really focusing on with Frimpong, and I will, I think we've got a super chat that I will get to in a second. Frimpong's homegrown, and he is only 24, so he's at the right age for Liverpool to go for it. And at 30 million quid, that is value for money. In terms of, even if he has a decent year, but he's not necessarily the greatest fit, you'll make your money back, if not more, if you have to sell him after a year or two. So I'm not shocked that the football club are really interested in him, and I really looked at him as this opportunistic purchase potentially. And I do think that it could be a potential move to see us go to something more akin to that of the PSG system, which I think Arne Slot took a lot of inspiration and has a lot of respect for how they've played this year. But Khalid asks me to compare it with Vanderson and Franke, and I know that a couple of people have asked me to get Frimpongs. So let me just get all of them up. I need to do that. I don't know why people are asking for Dumfries though. It's like he's too old for the system. I'm assuming Franke is the right back from like Flamengo. I think he is. I'm assuming that's who Franke is. If it's not Kelly, just let me know. But so this is Frimpong's. We've all got an idea what Frimpong's is. Then you've got Vanderson, which is worse attacking wise, but got really good defensive numbers. More of a traditional fullback, more involved in build up. And the thing is, the bar doesn't really do it justice in terms of like progressive carries 2.36, 4.24. It's like Frimpong's a lot more involved in attacking play. Frimpong's more used to playing in a possession dominant attacking system with an attacking role. Denzel Dumfries is another one who, very strong in the air. I think it's slightly worse attacking numbers, but again, he does play in a slightly more defensively minded system. Worse at progressive carries, yada yada yada. A lot better aerially, but the defensive numbers are still a bit of a concern. And the thing that strikes me with Denzel Dumfries is he's 29. He's 29. That sort of that's a problem. FB Charles extension large. I'll figure that out for next week, Mum. But I appreciate the recommendation. And Wesley, again, this is someone who's more of your fullback, and what you've got to bear in mind with these numbers is these are judged by competitions outside of the top 5 leagues, so the numbers aren't. He's in the top 6% of players who play in shit leagues in the nicest possible way. So that's a bit of a type thing. So very decent defensive numbers, but again, how does that translate from the Brazilian league to the Premier League? It's a bit of a concern. If we are committing to that way of playing, which I've described and which I've shown, if we are committing to that way of playing, then Frimpong is the best option. But I do think it will be a major switch and a major stylistic change, which maybe doesn't necessarily make the most sense given the fact that we have just won the league this year. But, you know, who am I to doubt Arne Slot? Who am I to doubt the manager who's won and won the league at his first bloody attempt? Let's see if there's any more comments that I need to read. Who scores the bloody goals from Gary Richards? If I just go back to the screen here. When you're in positions like this, where it could be either like that, where Gravenberch gets a bit of a license to go forward, or it could be like that, where Kirk has given the license to go forward. We would attack in pretty much the same way we attack now. It'd be a bit of a transition game, but when you're dominant, you would have Salah being the main creator. You'd have left winger, which is Gakpo or Diaz, striker, which is whoever you buy, Frimpong, Szoboszlai. They're all there, and Salah's either going to cross or he's going to lay off to one of these two, get himself into a more dangerous position, and have a shot himself. Your goal scorers will still be your attackers. Your midfielder can pop up with one. Frimpong will probably get a couple throughout the season. Goals wouldn't be a problem in this system. They really, really wouldn't. Especially when you're so dominant like Liverpool can be. Goals really aren't a problem. Really dependent on Konate extending them. You see, Konate is the best probably in the world at channel defending in these sort of areas. But if you add a third centre-back to the mix, it kind of... You can get away with someone who isn't the best in the world there. Konate should be extended, by the way. If he doesn't extend, then I'm fuming. But what you got to look at is, if you're defending like this and he misses out, bear in mind, the first rule of defending is not win the ball back. Especially nowadays, the first rule of defending is to delay to get him back, to get him back, to get him back. It's about making sure you delay long enough to get the ball back, and then you're in a position where you're sitting in your compact 4-2-4, which you want to do like so. You sit in your 4-2-4, and you're fully back in shape. That's what defending's about. If you're playing with a back three rest defence, like so, and you got players up the pitch, and then you lose out possession, unless the opposition are leaving players like we do with Salah in this area and this area, what will happen is you will have there will be about a 2 to 3 second window, unless they can play a perfect long ball, where you can push your defenders into slightly wider areas, like so. And that buys you just enough time to get full-back back, to get full-back back, to get midfielder back, to get midfielder back, centre-back's tucked back in, he moves forwards, and you're back in shape. I think this is what needs to be understood. Konate is the best in the world at it, but if you play with three at the back, you can get away with it. That's why teams that aren't the greatest defensively, or teams that are... There's two extremes to three at the back. You're either not great defensively, so you play three at the back to match it, to like cover for it, or you play three at the back because you are so good defensively, you can use the three at the back to your own advantage in terms of breaking press. I wouldn't be shocked if we at points move towards the latter. Trent for Frimpong is a bloody downgrade. Most players are a downgrade from the Rat, but you've got to work with what you can do. At the end of the day, the only fullbacks that are probably better than the Rat are like Hakimi, and Hakimi's not going to move. So, yeah. Do you think Kirkers and Frimpong are stylistically similar to Hakimi? Frimpong is a bit closer to him. Defensively not as good, but in terms of the overall package, a little bit closer to Hakimi. Kirkers is probably closer to what an older Robertson like a younger, I say older, but a younger, like 2018, 19 version of Randy Robertson was. And that version of Robertson was probably, one of the better fullbacks that we've seen in the past decade. Edwards won't buy Frimpong or Kerkers. Why would Edwards not buy Frimpong or Kerkers? Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? And also, I do need to talk about this. Since the news has come out about Frimpong, there's been a lot of talk about what's it called? Will Frimpong play? Will you end up with a situation where instead of Frimpong being the right back, Frimpong is the winger, and Connor Bradley comes in as the right back? That to me makes no sense. No sense. A, you lose your main attacker, your most important attacker, for a guy who isn't necessarily. I know he's good at the inverting stuff, but attacking as a fullback is different to attacking as a winger. And also, it's a hard sell. If we're buying Frimpong, you've got to bear in mind, Jeremy Frimpong is a guy who starts week in, week out for a title challenging team in Leverkusen. And there will be teams across Europe, especially for the prices, that will be heavily interested. If he wants to join us, we're gonna have to offer him something interesting. And that to me is the fact that he'll be starting more often than not. Now Bradley, let's not lose sight of the fact that Conor Bradley can also do this side of the game, as we've seen, especially against Real Madrid this season. He's very good at it. But Frimpong will probably be the main guy coming in. I just don't see that the sell to Frimpong being, you'll be the backup right back to Bradley, and you'll be the backup right winger to Mohamed Salah, a player who never misses football matches. Especially with Chiesa still at the football club. I just don't see it personally. I really just don't see it personally. Frimpong is best at his overlapping and underlapping runs. We can occupy a man in wide there. He's open space for the 10 Salah. It's exactly what I was going on about earlier. Tactical Galactico. You create this triangle of doom, which can rotate in any which way they want. It could go like this. Could go like this. Could go like this. Although probably to a less extent. Could go like this. And Frimpong is there to either go up, up, or up, through. That's the way it's got to go. But it's all about creating overloads. That's what football's about now. It's about creating these overloads. Frimpong is homegrown. He came to the City Academy, didn't he? So I think he qualifies as homegrown. That inverting period was overrated, IMO. I wouldn't say it was overrated. I would just say it didn't suit how we played under Klopp for the most part. When you're inverting, you're doing it so you can be methodical. So City were great at it in the sense of they would form the back three. They would have Rodri, and they would have whether it was Cancelo or it was Stones. And then you'd have four, like so, and then you one. And you got 3 box 3, 3-2-4-1, whatever way you want to talk about it. That was how it was set up. But the way City played was so methodical that it made sense to invert because they were going to be there for large periods of time. They'd be there for 30, 45 seconds at a time because City didn't lose the ball. The problem with Liverpool is our style of football. We never made Robertson sit there. Robertson will always be there. So instantly, you're a bit weaker. A 2-2-5-1 is weaker than... It is defensively weaker, should I say, than a 3-2-4-1. So we were a lot more exposed in the counter-attacks. Also, we didn't hold the ball long enough for large parts of time for him to be effective. And he was part of the fault for it. Because what he who shall not be named would do when he get the ball, instead of playing methodical, nice slow build-up, perfect. There, to there, to there, to there. Maybe he would drop in, then you go there, but it'd go back. And you're trying to draw them out, it'd go there, it'd go back, it'd go out, it'd go back. Instead of it being that, what would end up happening? Fuck, I've got to get rid of all this now. is... Can I just, like, highlight? So you're learning on the job with me here, people. Can I just, like, highlight? Nope. I'm going to have to click them all and get rid of them all. Let me click some of these, man. See, I'm losing my flow here because I'm going to spend my time getting to the fucking lines that I drew on the pitch. But what would end up happening, I can keep them because you'd end up with this where it'd be pass, pass, pass. It would get to Trent, and Trent would then go. Trent would then go. Can I draw me fucking thing? Trent would then go boom, or boom, or boom, and you would lose the ball. You would lose the ball straight away because Nunes might not win the duel, or the fullback could be there. You lose the ball. It's wasted. It's wasted. The way it works when you play a 3-2-4-1 is you are there to draw out the opposition. You have the numerical advantage. So most teams attack in a 4-3-3, or if you want to use a 4-2-3-1, we can use a 4-2-3-1. I should, in theory, be able to select here. Right, perfect. So I'll bring an opposition team to the table as well. In theory, it would end up, you would attack something like this. We'll use the 4-2-3-1 for now. Fullback, fullback, centre-back, centre-back. Now what you have here in this system is they can match up effectively man-to-man. There would be the striker would drop in, the wingers would tuck in narrow, and they would match up man to man like that. That was our problem. 4-2-3-1 was a real problem for us last year because build up wise, we could be sandwiched like this, and Robertson would have to come back, and they would oftentimes leave Robertson free because generally Robertson can progress the ball by running forwards. And what would happen then is Robertson gets the ball, he moves out, he tucks in, he goes there, and he's basically blocked in. He's blocked into a corridor. So, the way it worked for City is you would do this. So, 3-2-4-1. Your striker would push the central centre-back. Winger on wide. 10 would push onto 1. And then what would end up happening is the one ADM would push onto the other. Now, what does that leave? That leaves a free man. With that free man, this is why you're slow and methodical with it. You're passing, drawing out. The moment he commits, it's pushed in or pushed through, and all of a sudden, he's got to defend too, or a centre-back has to push up. And if the centre-back pushes up, that means the spacing behind for winger, spacing behind for striker. And more often than not, the player that would end up free was Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is one of the greatest passers this league has ever seen. He could play that pass through. Winger goes through. Striker goes through. Haaland's there. Bang, 1-0. Bang, 2-0. That's how City was so good at it because of their style of play. It didn't work for us because we were a little bit too fast. We were a little bit too hectic in nature. But people... Will I take Gyökeres? Of course I'll take Gyökeres. He's a good striker. He's just not my number one target. So, that's Frimpong. And my little tactical breakdown of how I think Frimpong will end up working at Liverpool. We now need to talk about the other news. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool is potentially on. Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool is potentially on, people. Now, would it be one of the weirdest signings we've made in recent years? 100%. This man is 33. He started to struggle a little bit with injury problems. People say it doesn't make much sense for Kevin De Bruyne to join Liverpool. What I see is a player who, if you manage his minutes, can still produce and create at a level that is unmatched on the planet. But he just can't do the all-action stuff that he was doing a couple of years ago. You have to be more careful with that. He's a Liverpool fan, for one. And I think the thing that we have to look at... Don't tell me James Pearce has finally shut it down. He best not have done. He hasn't shut it down all season. He hasn't shut it down at all so far. He hasn't, yeah. It was Alex Crook, but Alex Crook said what I knew they were going to say, in the fact that he's not on the agenda. It doesn't mean we haven't got interest, it just means it's not the priority right now. That, to me, implies that there's still something on there. But, if I go here, Kevin De Bruyne's numbers. He is still in the top 1% of all players on the planet in expected assisted goals. 0.52 expected assists. That is ridiculous. 5.98 shot creating actions per 90. Ridiculous. If I compare him to a midfielder, because that's comparing him to attacking midfielders' wings, if I compare him to a midfielder, look at the numbers. Look at the creativity. Top 1% for shots. Top 1% for assists. Top 1% for expected assisted goals. You're looking at the midfielders. The guy I looked at, the guy I said I want us to sign is Alex Baena. It's Alex Baena. What's Pierce said? I'm not seeing this thing that you're putting here. I'm not seeing this. I don't think Pierce has said anything. Oh, there it is in a reply. It's almost 8:30, time shut down the KDB room and there's been no offer from Liverpool. Yes. Because we technically can't submit an offer for him right now, you know. Because of the Bosman ruling. So, for people who don't know about the Bosman ruling, the Bosman ruling is such. A player can negotiate a contract with a club when they're in the last 6 months of their deal, but it has to be a club from a foreign league, a foreign country. So technically, Liverpool cannot legally offer Kevin De Bruyne a contract right now, legally. But we can figure out if he's interested. We can figure out, you know, what we'd offer. We can do it, because let's be honest, we're not stupid. Football teams do this all the time. They do this all the time. So what I'm reading into that is, yes, we've not put an offer in, but what I'm not seeing is Liverpool have no interest in Kevin De Bruyne. Find me someone who has said Liverpool have no interest in Kevin De Bruyne. The closest you've got to that is he's not on the agenda right now. That means that he's not the priority right now. But that doesn't mean Liverpool have zero interest in him and we don't want him to join, and we wouldn't be willing to make a deal done under the right circumstances, under the right positions. Kevin De Bruyne clearly wants to stay in Europe, probably in England. His family's probably settled. He wants to stay where he is. He's best mates with Van Dijk, you know, all that stuff. If there's something there, it's not going to be happening right now because we legally can't do it right now. But I still think there's a chance. I still think there's a bigger chance than you might think. Those saying there's zero chance, do not rule it out. Do not rule out Kevin De Bruyne to Liverpool. I'm telling you, do not rule it out. But what are the concerns with De Bruyne? He's 33. My response to that is, so is Van Dijk, and so is Mohamed Salah. So is Van Dijk, and so is Salah. Well, I think Salah's 32, to be fair. But what that's telling me is that with the way Donald, I've not been single for 5 years now. I nearly said 4. I would have been killed then. I've not been single now for 5 years, love. I appreciate the love and support, but it hasn't been an option for the last 5 years. I apologise. But what we need to consider here, people, is Salah and Van Dijk are showing no signs of slowing down. What you've seen in the past however many years, there was an interesting thing that was brought up to me at some point. Let me go see if I can find the stats. Let me pull up the Kevin De Bruyne, not Kevin De Bruyne, the Ballon d'Or winners. This is what I'm after. If we go look at the list of Ballon d'Or winners since, we'll look at it in this way from recently. So, Rodri was above the age of, or was below the age of 30. Messi over 30. Benzema, over 30. Messi, over 30. 2020 would have been Lewandowski, who was over 30. Messi, over 30. Modric, over 30. Ronaldo, over 30. Ronaldo, 30 or just over 30. For the last... For 1, 2, 3, 4... I'm going to include this one. 5, 6, 7, 8 years... The best player in the world was over 30. That, to me, shows me that at this point in time, with the way sports science has gone, with the way players are looked after, you can get players to continue to show their high level at this age, which is why we've given Salah and Van Dijk new deals. Because if we didn't think that they could keep this level up at the ages of 35 and 36, we wouldn't be giving them new deals. We'll be moving them on. It wouldn't happen. So to me, I'm not ruling this out. If we wouldn't be bringing him in to start every single game. You've got Dominic Szoboszlai, who will be starting the big games. I think the big thing to note here is that Kevin De Bruyne probably wouldn't be starting the big games. You would be using Kevin De Bruyne against low-end opposition or for the last 20 minutes if you're chasing a goal. In that situation, I think he works. And if he's willing to take the pay cut that I've heard he's willing to take, I don't see why you'd be against it. Everyone this season has moaned about how our number 10 isn't doing enough attacking wise, he isn't threatening enough, he isn't this, he isn't that, yada yada yada. If Kevin De Bruyne joins Liverpool and we manage him in the correct way, which I trust Arne Slot to do because of how he's managed the older players this year, who's not to say he can extend Kevin De Bruyne for another 2 years and get 20 GA off him for both years, using him in the minutes that you're looking at. I really can't rule it out. I think you've got to consider the fact that our injury prevention has been much improved this year. Our style of play is a lot less physically intensive than it has been. I think there's a world where it happens. I really think there's a world where it happens. And guess what? You sign him for 2 years and he's struggling a bit after the first one. The Saudi Pro League! The Saudi Pro League are there! Or the MLS, you can get 5 million quid and he's on a free. I just don't rule this out. I really can't rule this out. What you've got to consider, people, is we're talking about people here. Kevin De Bruyne is 33. He's not going to want to move his family to he's not going to want to uproot his family if he doesn't have to. I could really see it happening. I really, really could. And think about the dressing room. Think about the quality of nurturing and tutoring and whatever you want to talk about in the dressing room. If you had Mohamed Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, the 4 best players in their position in the league in the last 10 years at the club at the same time. Fuck you know. The development you could see on some of our players would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous. If he's willing to take the pay cut that he's willing to take, which is the big thing for me, if he's taking that pay cut, I'm all for the deal. I'm all for the deal. It's low risk. It is low risk because you're not paying any money. It is low risk, high reward. If you can get Kevin De Bruyne back to close to his best, that's someone who... I mean, let me just go look at Kevin De Bruyne's historical numbers. Stats by season. Yeah. We'll just use Google for this. This season, 11 GA in 25. Last season, 14 GA in 18. Season before that, 23 GA in 32. Season before that, 23 GA in 30. Season before that, 18 and 25. 23 and 35. That one he had loads of injuries. 24 and 37. 26 and 37. 24 and 36. That's someone who averages 20 GA a season. He averages 20 goals and assists a season. If we can get close to that, even if we take a 25% cut from that, if we can get Kevin De Bruyne to give us 15 goals and assists for each season across the next 2 seasons, bang. Bang. And imagine how Szoboszlai can learn off him. Imagine how, the young lads, we've got Trey Ione, Rio and Gamoa. All these youngsters, even Curtis Jones could learn from him. These players that are young and still have these occasional problems or still have these issues with their play style. Kevin De Bruyne is the archetypal perfect midfielder for these young attacking midfielders to learn off. I don't see why you wouldn't do it, people. I really, really don't. I really don't. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your feelings in the comments down below. I appreciate everyone for watching. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I don't think there's any. I mean, yeah. Let's just talk about this. If Kevin De Bruyne got 15 GA, he'd have more than fucking Jota and Nunez combined, which is a whole separate issue in and of itself. You know, that's why you can't be cheaping out on the striker this summer. But people, I'm going to love yous. I'm going to leave yous. I am live on the football terrace at... you know, before we finish, I'll touch on this. Konate's contract situation. Real Madrid are being pricks like they always are, and are talking about getting Ibu Konate on a free transfer when his contract expires next summer. You have to figure out by August if Konate is going to sign or not. You have to figure that out. We cannot every year be losing players on free transfers. For the model to work, you cannot be losing players on free transfers. Konate is a 100 million quid footballer. You cannot afford to lose him on a free. You have to figure out how much you want. You have to figure out a deal. You have to hash a deal out, or you have to move him on. We cannot afford to keep letting these players go on frees. I think there has to be some sacrifice made from our side, some sacrifice made from Ibu's side. I want him to stay. I think he's one of the best defenders on the planet, but we cannot afford to have him go on a free. So, yeah. But people, I'm on the football terrace at 5 for the top 6 show. I'm live on Coppish tomorrow, 1 PM. Might be live on Footy Judge Moa at 2. I don't know for sure. I'll figure that out. Might be live on other things tomorrow, but you'll catch me about everywhere. You all watch football. You all watch all these channels. I appreciate everyone for watching, everyone for commenting, everyone for chatting away. If you're new here, you're not already, make sure on that like button, hit that subscribe button. You're turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any more content from me. As you can see, I've done 2 shows in a week, so you never know. This could truly be the start of a run of games, of a run of streams, should I say, where I am consistent and I am, living up to my job title as, daily streamer. Is there anyone that we should redirect to, people? What time is it? 2:14? Let me have a quick little look. Anyone know who's going live in a second? Oh, thank you, adverts. I'm trying to go onto my subscription, see who's live in a second. Fuck it. You know what? We will redirect to Footy Judge Mo. We're going to redirect to Footy Judge Mo, people. So stay here. Once this finishes, we will take you to a redirect on Footy Judge Mo. I want you to put in the comments whatever you want. Let's all laugh at Arsenal. Let's all laugh at Arsenal in them comments. But I love yous. I'm going to leave yous. Peace out, everyone. And I'll catch you all in a bit.